Remember that time you wished you were a toy?
Today we're talking about Toy Story, all 4 movies.
Toy Story. It's the story of toys.
And what they do when you're not in the room. And spoiler alert, they come to life.
When you walk out of your room, all your toys that you've neglected, that you haven't played with, that you've ignored, that you've replaced with newer toys, that your parents bought you for Christmas and immediately you said to them, I didn't want this! They heard that! And now they're dealing with depression.
The first full-length computer animated film of all time.
And it introduces us to the greatest cartoon character of all time.
Came out on November 22nd, 1995. Very first Pixar movie, obviously the start of many tiers.
Toy Story will always be top 2 for me in movies. It is. Like Frozen and Toy Story are my favorite Disney movies, period.
The development of the original Toy Story was a pipe dream from John Lasseter and the rest of the Pixar animators.
My favorite fun fact about the original development of Toy Story is that Woody was supposed to be evil.
Really sarcastic and degrading to the other toys, and he was the villain. Instead of fighting Sid and the toys over there, originally the other toys were supposed to rise up and overthrow Woody as like the leader of the toy gang.
Tom Hanks, he doesn't do evil. Tom Hanks is a good guy, so Woody's gotta be a good guy.
No, this guy's sarcastic, he is mean, he is not likable at all. This is a horrible main character. Basically gave Pixar 2 weeks or they were pulling the plug.
Who doesn't want a buddy movie? We need buddies in this world. Without buddies, what do we have?
But they went and they reworked it and made Woody like a little bit sarcastic, but mostly the leader that you love.
Enemies. Just a world full of enemies.
Briefly describe the plot of the first Toy Story. The scene opens with One-Eyed Bart, Mr.
Listen, I know that Molly right now is giving you a play-by-play of the entire movie. She's probably talking for as long as the original Toy Story is, because it's not that long of a movie. I'm gonna do a couple sentences. Andy is a kid. He has a bunch of toys that he's really imaginative and plays a lot with. His favorite toy is Woody, the cowboy. Until the new toy, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger, is released, and he gets Buzz, and there's some drama.
Yeah. There was something like honestly, growing up, I think Toy Story 1 was weirdly like a little bit scary to me. And I think that was mostly to do with Sid.
To Sid, toys are just pieces of plastic.
That one kid that ain't right that plays with them toys. I know what I'm talking about.
He needs maybe a little more adult supervision, but I don't think he's evil. He's evil if he keeps doing this to toys once he knows they can feel it.
I think you only think that what Sid does is brutal because you're seeing it through the eyes of knowing that toys have personality and life. You're seeing Sid as a murderer. You're seeing Sid as somebody that destroys living creatures. You're seeing Sid in his worst light.
And I don't condone his actions. I don't think that mutilating toys is the way to go. But at the same time, is mutilating toys really the worst thing you can do?
Sometimes you just want to experiment as you learn things.
And it's not like he's doing it to animals, because that's how they say, you know, serial killers, if they're like mean to animals.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, viewer. I used to take action figures down in my basement and rip the arms off and put different ones on. I was Sid! But that was fine because they were pieces of plastic. I think Sid gets a bad rap.
You are a sad, strange little man.
Woody was kidnapped.
Woody once risked his life to save me.
Toy Story 2 is the second Toy Story film. It's the sequel to the smash hit Toy Story.
It's my favorite Toy Story.
This one's my least favorite.
It is a great movie. I think that it is so funny.
I think it is a little bit darker.
Toy Story 1 doesn't even have Jessie and Bullseye. They're like quintessential characters to the series.
You get Jessie in this movie. She's awesome. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because she's a ginger.
I don't like Jessie. I find her so annoying. And everyone's like, it's because you weirdly love Buzz Lightyear.
And I understand, okay, she's jealous. And I'm sorry. That is the word that goes with that emotion.
Maybe, but also I find her incredibly annoying.
Jealousy, because she's in love with Buzz.
Kind of strange.
And I get that, because sometimes I fall in love with cartoons.
And I find Jessie really whiny and annoying. So, Sorry.
And in this one, Woody is actually stolen by a collector named Al. He is stolen because he finds out that he's actually part of a collection that is basically Woody's roundup.
So Woody has to struggle with this new life and new friends and learning this new thing about himself, and then his other friends that want him back and that want to rescue Woody and want Woody back in their life.
My favorite part is when they're restoring Woody.
Yes, I love that part.
It is like ASMR for the eyeballs.
If you're an inanimate object, I'm down with you being restored, right? It's cool to see an older item, an antique item, restored to the way it was originally.
I could watch that part like 10 times in a row. The airbrush cheeks.
Airbrushing is satisfying. It's a calming mist of color.
This is his life, and by restoring him, you are effectively removing any evidence that Woody has lived.
I didn't like that the toy maker covered up Andy's name on the bottom of Woody's foot, but it's like one brushstroke that just...
Ooh, that is a nice clean shoe now.
It's so satisfying, right?
That Woody has loved, that Woody has had a fulfilled life. And so is Woody an inanimate object? To be restored is a beautiful thing, to see the way he was originally supposed to be represented? Or is Woody a living creature that by restoring him, you are removing evidence that he has had a life fulfilled?
Is this the best Toy Story? You betcha! And anyone who says otherwise is literally wrong.
No, this is not the best Toy Story.
It's not.
But it is not the best one.
This is the worst Toy Story.
You got the tears, you got the laughs. Best Toy Story.
I'm tour guide Barbie.
I'm a married spud.
Come on, guys. We all knew this day was coming.
We're getting thrown away.
No, no one's getting thrown away.
We ain't ever.
We have finally reached the best Toy Story, y'all.
Toy Story 3 is the third Toy Story in the Toy Story franchise.
The Return of the Jedi.
This is the one where like the technology had gotten far enough at this point, because it's been a while since Toy Story 2 came out, and it's like, whoa, looking at this animation.
Return of the King.
It's also the only one of these films to be nominated for Best Picture. Not just Best Animated Picture, Best Picture. And it's only the third animated film to ever be nominated for Best Picture among live action films, following Beauty and the Beast, Up, and now Toy Story 3.
The Return of Woody and Buzz.
Andy has grown up and he's going to college. And because of that, he hasn't been playing with his toys. They've just been kind of chilling, doing their own thing.
And he puts out all the toys except Woody out, and they are donated to a daycare center.
Love the whole idea of the butterfly room having like toddler toys and what toddler toys go through being like stuck in people's mouths and up their noses.
Fighting to survive in the harsh daycare environment. Little do they know, that's only one of the threats that awaits them, for the tyrant Lotso is not showing all of his cards.
Lotso is a big bear that smells like strawberry.
He might be the evilest of all the villains. He like sends the toys into an incinerator. That's evil.
The incinerator scene is one of the saddest animated moments I can recall.
Yeah, I mean, it's super sad. What else is there to feel?
I felt so sad that I felt like I was gonna be sick.
I don't find it to be as sad. I watched it again and tried to feel...
This scene right here deserves an Academy Award all by itself. Just for this scene.
They're in the pile of trash and they're trying to climb up and they realize they're not going to be able to.
They decided to face the worst outcome together and when they grabbed hands.
And it ends with Woody and Buzz and they look at the incinerator and the fire is in their eyes.
I was certainly well aware that Disney was not going to kill off all the characters.
It's Pixar, they're monsters. They kill everybody. If you don't think Pixar would kill all those toys, I don't think you've seen Finding Nemo.
I still think When She Loved Me is more heart-wrenching. And the other is plastic toys melting.
Spanish Buzz is the best part of Toy Story 3.
Ooh, Spanish Buzz, so sassy. We love Spanish Buzz.
And he's like very romantic and like Rico Suave at that point. Also he can flamenco dance.
Again, when Andy gave away his toys, that was sad for me because It's more about the human letting go of his childhood.
And so Andy goes to Bonnie's and he's got the box and he's like, I hear you like toys and I need someone to play with mine for a little bit. And he introduces them one by one.
Kind of grew up along that same timeline as Andy. I was probably around 17 at the time when this movie came out.
But Bonnie looks in the bottom of the box and Woody's there because Woody knew he would just sit on the shelf at college and he didn't want to leave his friends.
And that, I think, hits hard for a lot of people.
And then he says that he'll be with his pal Buzz for infinity and beyond.
This isn't goodbye.
I want you to meet Forky.
Hi.
Hello. He's a spork.
Toy Story 4 is the final, as far as we know, Toy Story film.
It is the movie that nobody thought they were gonna get. Everybody thought Toy Story was done after 3, but of course it's not. You know how popular these movies are. There's no world where they're done after 3.
At the end of Toy Story 3, the toys were all donated to Bonnie. And then this one, Woody is kind of coming to terms with being Bonnie's toy.
He was the CEO of Andy's bedroom. Well, guess what? Now you're on Bonnie's turf, and there's another CEO, brother. You're just an employee.
Toy Story 4 is fun. It's the funniest Toy Story. It is hilarious thanks to some brand new characters.
Forky, who was obviously like all the rage when Toy Story 4 came out.
What a horrible character that is. He's terrible.
He's like whimpering trash. I'm trash. I'm trash. Like he's gotta get in the trash. Like he's the only thing in the world he wants is to be in the trash.
My daughter's had some like rocks that she's found be really popular with her. Any number of strange things. There's a lot of treasures that we find on the ground that are trash.
There is this nightmare Forky hairbrush that Molly has. I hope she showed it to you, and if she didn't, I'll get her to get a picture to put right here. Look at that thing. Why?
My favorite is Duke Kaboom. I love Duke Kaboom. He's great. We love the I love the Evel Knievel toy. It's so good.
I would say it's a toss-up between Ducky and Bunny or Duke Kaboom for my favorite character. I love Key and Peele. I think they're hysterical. And a fun fact, most of the time when recording Toy Story, the characters are not in the same room. They're all recording their own voices separately, but they let Key and Peele be in the same room. What I would pay to hear Key and Peele's outtakes from this, it's dangerous and unreasonable, but it had to have been hilarious.
Overall, Toy Story is the best Pixar franchise. It is the best. You got a friend in me.
I am going to have to say that Toy Story 1, the first one, is the best. And that is because it is the first, it paved the way for the other 3, and it paved the way for all the other Pixar movies that came after it.
Toy Story 1 is the best of these movies.
I think if I had to choose, which it seems like I do, I'm slightly leaning towards Toy Story 2. I think 2 is the best.
The best Toy Story is Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 1 is the best because it gives you your OG. It's still funny. It still holds up. It may not look as good as Toy Story 4, but it looks very good for being over 20 years old. It is what started this whole thing, and not just this whole Toy Story thing. You don't get Finding Nemo and The Incredibles and Monsters, Inc. and A Bug's Life and Turning Red and Inside Out. You don't get any of those if these characters didn't steal your hearts.
2 is the best one. I would go 2, 3, 1, and 4.
Toy Story 2, baby! It is the best, and anyone saying otherwise is completely wrong. Like, you have to let us know in the comments which Toy Story you like best, and please vindicate me and say Toy Story 2, because that's the right answer.
You got a friend in me.
All right, bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Thank you, yes. Bye-bye now. Oh, yeah, we hope you enjoyed the film. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. 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 Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Is everyone gone? Have they left?
Oh my gosh, are they gone? My face hurts from smiling so much.
My face hurts from smiling, and that's just comedy gold. It's so funny. If you love Toy Story as much as we do, go watch our episode on Toy Story Land. See you there.